Again, everyone, hi Manal, hi Joseph. We start our session called The Box of Chocolates. And the box of chocolates, actually, now we just faced, there was a serious business talk before us. So now one of the participants mentioned that we are going to speak about some chocolates, some light matters. So this box of chocolates is about actually new beginnings. It's a part of an notion from Forrest Gump movie, where he says that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So now we are going to speak about situations in life where all of our participants started something when with no definite result. We don't know how our life will actually be, and we're really very interested in the stories. Joseph.
Hi, everybody. Glad to see you. Unfortunately, I'm not there with you, and it's a FOMO. But I'm glad the organizers gave me this opportunity to be here with you. So just to remind you that last year, Tatiana and we talked to the founders of some Ukrainian and Russian translation companies. And it happened that last year, all of them, except for Svetlana Svetova, were men. This year, we meet both off and online. So we decided that there is no excuse not to let women speak. So, Tatiana, would you please introduce our amazing guests?
Yes. So we have online, we have Manal Amin, the owner of Erebais company, which is one of the largest companies in Egypt that deals with translation and localization. And Manal also does a lot of things to promote the industry, to support women in the industry. And so I'm really happy that she's here, because I remember her story very well. It impressed me. We also have Sabina Jasinska here from Poland. She is the global marketing leader who worked for largest companies like SDL Trados, Donnelly Solutions, and we localize, developing their global strategies. And we are happy that she's here with us and can share her story. We have Ilona Voronova here. She works in Murka Murka Games Limited. It's an IT company that develops games. So she works in localization there, and will share her story of that path in localization. And we have Irina Tulovska from Postmodern Production. She's the head of localization department, and she works in the her company deals with dubbing, subtitling, and everything with audiovisual part of not only translation but production.
Let me introduce you, Tatiana. So our hostess today is Tatiana Struk, founder and owner of Linguistics Center Translation and Localization Company in Ukraine. And you may wonder what I'm doing here in this company of bright women. But, for 20 years in the language industry, I worked mostly with women. My first boss actually was a woman, and all my career I meet a lot of bright, talented, gifted women, like translators, project managers, company owners. So if you don't mind, today I will be an honorary woman in localization with you. So enough about ourselves. Let our guests speak. And our first question would be, Manal, Sabina, Irina, Ilona, being a woman in business, is it actually being a woman in business, is it an obstacle, advantage, or it does not matter at all?
So one by one.
Hello, everyone. This is Sabina Jashińska. I think it is an obstacle if you think yourself it is an obstacle. And this is what I see always when I work with women who just start working in the localization industry or any other industry. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to fight for your rights. You have to ask for a higher salary. What I always see is that women always ask for less than men, and they always get less than men. And of course, it is only in our mind, and I think we're doing this all to ourselves, because many of us always think like, yeah, maybe I need to finish a few more courses, maybe I'm not ready yet. As I always say, you ask a man on the street, would you like to be a director? And they always say yes. And we think like, well, maybe next year. That's why I always say to everyone, just don't have any shame and ask for more. And this is how basically I was always working and asking for more responsibilities, and being promoted almost every 6 months.
And Sabina, could you please share your story, your professional story, how you actually find yourself in this industry? Why here? I know that you have a great education, studying a lot in your life. So why this industry and how you came here?
Okay, that's a long story, but I started actually as a lawyer. I was an attorney in Poland representing trade unions and construction workers, but I always wanted to travel, as being, of course, from an ex-communist country. So I went to New York, and in New York I wanted to work for a company that would have an office in Paris, so I could be transferred to Paris immediately. And that's how I started to work for Donnelly. And one thing that I've learned also working as a lawyer is that you always have to look, professional and, always in a suit. So this is actually how I started my first day. I go to work for Donnelly, at the time R. Donnelly, and I'm the only one in a black suit, white pearls, white shirt. It was actually Halloween in New York, so I was the only one on the streets in Halloween on that day, on the streets of New York, dressed in a black suit. But that was a very lucky move, because on that day there was a global meeting of all the global bosses of Donnelly, and that was $12 billion company. And of course they invited me to that meeting to take notes, and I spent with those bosses the first 3 days, and that of course helped me in my career, later on. So I really recommend that. And I always say that you have to look like your boss's boss, especially when you are a woman, blonde, and from Poland.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, Sabina. So maybe before answering the question about what does it mean to be a woman in business, maybe everybody can share their stories and then answer the question.
That's really great, Ilona. So how do you find your way here?
Oh, it was a quite hard way for me. I've been working in Murka for more than 5 years, and I started from a huge job title, retention as localization manager, and I was a green girl just from the university. Previously, I worked in call center of Kyivstar, and I started working in Murka all alone, because my mentor, he left his job after I passed my probation period. So I was alone, and I'm trying to return our users to our games. Sorry, I didn't mention our company Murka is a social casino gaming platform. We're producing casino games, and we have 4 huge titles: Scatter Slots, Infinity Slots, Slots Era, Skitter Poker, and 2 new titles, Solitaire and Slot Journey. So during, I think, 3 years, I improved my skills, and I learned a lot from the people that work in Murka, and also our company grew from 100 people to 500 people. After that, my job title were divided to two directions, ASO localization and CRM management. I started to be a head of CRM department. I was alone. Then there was added one girl to my department. After that, I've added 4 girls more. And now, passing 5 years, I have a great and cozy department that contain 4 great women that shared my skills, that have the same knowledge that I have, and that maybe we have some friendly partnership inside our department, but sometimes other departments are not allowing us to show our strengths. So that was my past, and as I think my answer to the question is that it's no matter you're a girl, woman, or woman or man. You just need to estimate, write your skills, and ask that price that you think you cost.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you much. Manal, could you please share your brilliant story? Because I do remember how it impressed me when I heard it.
I'm a graduate of political science and economics originally, but I always liked translation. So translation was a hobby, and I had a diploma in translation same time with my bachelor's. Then it happened that I got married and traveled outside Egypt to Kuwait. It was very hard to find a job in the field of political science in another country. So I thought of my hobby, translation, and started looking for a job. And at that time, the company that ever did Arabic was on computers, or Arabic software, was based in Kuwait. So it was a small team of about 20, 30 persons, mainly researchers and people trying to make the computer Arabic. It was very challenging and interesting, and I found that I'm not doing normal translation, so we have to find out what are we going to call the word. I spent in this company 10 lovely years, working as a translator, copy editor, copywriter. It was a new company, so we were doing so many things at the same time. Content creator for implementation of software. It was everything related to the languages in a newly established software company. So it was very interesting, and then happened COVID, and the whole company moved to Egypt, my home country. There, it was nice, but the environment changed. The company grew, and there were too many people doing the job. I was the head of a department of localization and translation, everything really the language. At the time, the whole world started to think of having Arabic software. So multinationals, big names, started to think of doing their software in Arabic. So I started to get job offers, and it was not very interesting for me to travel. So job offers in the States, we're in Ireland, we're in Dubai, but I thought that I need to stay in Cairo, so decided to have a company and work for these companies in Egypt, from Egypt. And the outsourcing, the idea was this was 1994. And from there, I started working first for Lotus. It was the first one to start doing Arabic, the Smart Suite, and with only a few people. So I found myself more and more involved in the Arab part, Arabic localization for software. This is how it started. And now it's for 25 years. All of the things changed, but this is how it started.
Oh, thank you very much. So from a safe surrounding, you just decided to take that chocolate, yes, from the box, knowing nothing what will be in front of you. Yes. And what about the question? How do you feel? Is it
As a woman, when I started in the early 90s in the Middle East, as a woman, it was not that easy. It was challenging. There were not many women company owners, business women, and I was coming of a technical background. It was a bit challenging for me to study management, marketing, finance, lots of things to start running the business. It was not easy at all with all the social restrictions around in a community like ours. First few years were really challenging. And many times I thought of, why not stop? Why not stop? Go for a job. It was better to go for a job, especially that the job was for money. So it took me around 3 years to settle down and to have. It was when I first started to read about entrepreneurship in 96, 97 that I started to notice that I'm going on the right way, and started working from there. Same, of course, women are doing great. So many girls starting startups, but the start was really hard. It's what made me part of all the businesswomen communities. So I am very active in my country in businesswoman empowerment and mentoring young girls on how to start their business. I had so many challenges that pushed me really to help all girls and women who are starting their business now.
Thank you very much, Manal. Irina, I heard you had really very great beginning of your career, and it could be useful to all young girls here. Probably, how can you find the job? So, how do you start it in business in your activity?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to apologize for my maybe speech because I was not prepared that I should speak in English. I am so sorry. Yeah, you should warn me.
And you'll run away. No.
For sure. Well, my this brilliant career in localization started when I've got very unlucky marriage. Actually, I was just a housewife, 3 children, something like that, and I was so furious that I have to sublime somehow this situation. That's why I started to train in hand-to-hand fighting. That's full contact and such things. After that, but it was very harsh for me because I am very tender flower, you know, and that's
we all are here, tender flowers.
Sure, yeah. And after that, I changed this hand-to-hand fighting to Aikido. I was just charmed with this, all these movements, with all these rules, and that's all. And I've got the second Q there. And meanwhile, and before that, I graduated without diploma, our Shevchenko University in Kiev, but without diploma. That was a Roman Germany philology, and it was during the Soviet era. It was before this separation, and then I decided to, after all this fighting and Aikido, I decided to restore my education and to finish it, and I finished. But this time I finished this translation department. And when I went with my team, my Aikido team, to some sportive camp, doesn't matter. With my friend, we are just lying on the beach, just chattering and laughing about everything. She was quite a successful woman. I was quite a housewife who was seeking for the new possibilities in her life, and we just chatting about everything. And one of our member of our team, he just turned his head to me and said, "Hey, do you know English?" I said, "No, so, something like that." And he said, "Oh, I need someone to make dubbing in Ukraine." I said, "Okay." And so actually it was in 2005, and that was actually the start of my career. And during first 6 years, all the dubbing in Ukraine, 5 years. No. 3 years, all the dubbing in Ukraine was just me. I was the main manager of all the dubbing projects. I mean theatrical dubbing, I'm sorry, theatrical, only theatrical. We have nothing to do with this TV, with the broadcast, I mean this online translation, home entertainment, and the other things. Well, now our company, Postmodern, some years ago we entered the corporation Film UA, and we are very mighty now. We've got a special department, and we've got quite a lot of managers. I mean project managers, and now the 1/4 of all theatrical dubbing in Ukraine is made in Postmodern, and one half of all the high quality dubbing of Ukraine is being made in Postmodern, in our department. Because we've got some other companies which produces some low budget independent releases.
So
that's all.
Your great career can find you on beach. Yes?
Yeah, yeah. It was unexpected.
Very interesting, and 4 different stories, and all of them were worth listening. But I feel that we miss one story here, and this story is from Tatiana. Tatiana, would you share yours?
Okay. I also didn't prepare this, you know. So
don't run away, please.
Well,
don't run away.
I used to study well, actually, I selected this profession just because it was 1991, so the country was destroyed. So I decided that definitely knowing foreign language, you can earn your living. But then I actually liked it because I was okay at the university, so I liked that. It's good. When I have still 1 year to finish the university, I got married. I had my first child, and then I have 2 more. So of course I had to leave the university without graduation and move to my home city to my husband. And of course, years were really very difficult. So we had to earn money, and my husband only started his business, so it were more expenses than earnings. So I looked for a job, and at that time, I don't know why, the form of CV, which we are supposed to fill, you had to mention that whether you are married, do you have children, and when I actually put in my CV that I have 3 children, like nobody hired me. There was 3 little children. It was absolutely impossible to find the job. So when I heard from one of the companies that no, it's not reliable, you cannot work, so your children can get sick or something like that, so it's not reliable to hire you even for freelance job. So I really got offended. And there was a little free storage room to the shop that my husband was renting. So I decided to open the, the company there. And it was like one table, handmade. Handmade sounds really very exquisite, but no, it's like really was handmade computer table, old computer, and me sitting there. In a couple of years, I expanded the business and actually finished the university, which was not easy to combine everything, like my development of business, university, children, of course, probably children, yes, and then all other items. Then at a certain point, I decided, probably it was in 5 or 6 years, I decided that I got bored, so I found localization and decided that I want to move there. And that's how it started. I never expected that my business will survive for 22 years and actually develop in what it develops. Mostly, actually, I opened it because there were a lot of people who asked me to translate something, and I translated. But I was too shy to ask to pay me. Actually, normally they brought me some chocolates or something like that, and like even at that time, most of the time I was breastfeeding, you know, and actually I even could not eat these chocolates. So I decided that when I'll have something that will look like office, they'll have to pay money, not chocolates. So that was the beginning.
That's very interesting and funny from one hand, but from the other hand, Sabina mentioned that some women in localization, in translation, in business in general are too shy to ask for a better salary or better conditions. So, as an example of how to, how to ask for better money is to, create a company for yourself, like Tatiana did.
And I think we missed the answer from Irina about how do you think what's to be a woman in business? Is it an obstacle, a challenge? It doesn't matter. How do you think? Was it easy?
Okay, I'll try. I think that being a woman in any business is an obstacle, a challenge, and what else?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's quite. It's not so easy for a man to be in any business and to make that. But for women, I think it's more difficult because we are to the owner of the business was happy to have me in his company, but he was a very wise man, and nevertheless he thought, and I think that all the owners of business, maybe all, but predominantly, they share this thing that men, they are to feed their families, And for women, and for me, women, this business is something like a hobby or something like that. It's something like a mission, and you should make it. You should perform your work for some smile, for chocolates or something like that. Yes, I should admit that we should fight for our salaries. Yes, and I should admit that the salary of men in our company is higher than women's one. And that is, and maybe I heard that some women, they use their sexual attraction to get some position, to make some career, something like that. But it's not very appropriate for the wide for the wide number of women. It's not. It's a no-no. matter. And that's why you are just like men, but you are considered something like semi-man, of course, and that's why you have a lower salary, and you should fight for its raising. And yes, we are shy. That's post-Soviet, for me, legacy that some years ago I just waited for my chief to notice how many work I do perform just to praise me and to give me this raising of salary. Now I'm head of department and I should fight for my girls, because they are girls in my department, actually, and I should fight for me and for my girls. It's easier for me to fight for my girls, sure. That's all.
Thank you, Rina. As I see, not all the communities, not all the countries, it's obvious, not are in the same level and not aligned in terms of how they perceive women at work. But as we see, women also need to feed their families. So it's a very bad excuse not to give them good salary, good money, or give contracts to them. Thank you for your stories and for the answers. And I see there is one common pattern in some of your stories about families who has family. But last year, I just want to remind you that last year our guests, confessed that they had to sacrifice their personal life to achieve something. So what you had to sacrifice to make advance in your careers?
It was even put at a certain point of discussion last year that what have you paid to get what you have? So problem anal. Can you think about something like that? Well,
in this sense, and when we consider family life, of course, and always women think or see life as the first priority. So we cannot just sacrifice anything related to family life. When I started, I had 2 kids of 6 years. Started the business. And it was very important to take care of the kids, of the house, to have everything as if I'm not working, and at the same time build the company. So that's why I started with a room in my house at the beginning, before moving to an office to take care of the kids. The thing that I really, by years, and I had to travel, to stay late in office, delivery dates, of course, and the pressure of delivery dates. And with the team getting better, in a second phase, I had to move in the same building, having my apartment and the office, the same building. This was after maybe 6 years of having the business. This was really very high pressure. I was pregnant, having my 3rd baby, and I had to live in the same building so that when the kids go to bed, I go to the office in my pajamas, finish my work, take care of the delivery dates, check my emails. So the thing that we really, women, has to sacrifice is our me time. My me time is that I missed for so many years, especially in the period where I was establishing the company, having to travel a lot, having to take care of the house, take care of the children. Having the family was really the first priority always, and work was priority always. So it was me who was not having any time for anything. I can't remember that during the first 10 years, I even had time to read a book or to go to a hairdresser or to go for a holiday. I did not take any vacation for 10 years. Normally send the kids in holidays with my parents or with my cousins, or sometimes to have some more work time during summer or during holidays. So women normally sacrifice themselves to build the career and to take care of the family.
Oh. Well, that's
Absolutely.
amazing.
You mentioned working long hours, never taking vacation. So this was my case as well. I worked sometimes 36 hours nonstop. And after that, I would go to swim and almost like fall asleep while swimming. But even my achievements were nothing compared with any of my colleagues who sometimes worked 48 hours nonstop. We had beds in our offices, but sometimes you were just sleeping under your desk. But of course, we worked a lot. So, having a nice suit was not enough. But I actually never considered that as a sacrifice because I had so much fun working in a corporate America. I mean, it sounds terrible. When I tell my friends that I actually love corporate America, they say that I'm out of my mind. But thanks to corporate America, I traveled half of the world. I was sent everywhere. I worked in different offices, and it was just amazing. So I never considered that as a sacrifice. But yes, I actually never took a day of vacation for, I think, 10 years. But it was fun.
I can answer too. I have a family. I'm happily married. I think happily. There was a few years when I spent a lot of free time working, and there was sometimes I woke up in the night and started to answer in Slack or other communication apps, resolving some critical questions in regards of publishing the app on the App Store or Google Play. But now when I have a great support in my department, all my girls support me a lot. For example, I just arrived from my vacation and there was no even a minute when I answer in the Slack. It was a great time, and I couldn't name that that I sacrificed my free time. It was the cost of my growth.
Thank you.
Actually, saying about this sacrifice,
Price that you paid.
the price, this my work and my career permit me to happily divorce 7 years ago, and it was a very great pace toward independence. And actually, I became an independent woman, and I can afford this divorce. And after that, now I've got happy relationships, but without marriage. And speaking about this price, first of all, I have no actually vacation. I'm on vacation now, but I have my notebook with me, my working notebook, and I communicate with our customers. I translate. I'm ruling the department, and I'm speaking with my girls, with my colleagues, and I think that this one, and after that, we've got very long hours, very long working hours. We cannot have standard working day because our customers are from USA predominantly, and that means that we've got this time difference, and that's why we cannot work from, for example, 8 till 5 or from 9 till 6. That's the price I'm paying for my career, for being a woman in the localization field. But I think that's quite a standard payment, and any person pay this price.
Thank you, Tatiana. At least maybe you haven't had to pay any price.
Of course, because everything for me is so easy. Like I often hear, you have nothing to complain about. You have everything. You have business, family, kids, like everything.
And free time.
Yes. Yes, when I suspected that you may ask this, and I agree with Manal. Probably, I paid with myself for that. Everything, being a tender flower, yes, I had to forget probably that I am the tender flower, and I really regret that because it's that's who I am, and nobody notices it anymore. So that's it. No significant sacrifices. Just like myself, and that's it. Nothing special.
I was thinking before this interview when Tatiana and I, we decided to interview women in localization. I was thinking myself if we actually should think in terms of women, black, white, gay, straight. But now I see that we actually have different patterns. If last year men told us that they had to pay their time with their families, actually women pay with their free time, with their self-time. So
yes, normally everyone preserve their families, except Irina, who actually it was not the aim, yes, to keep the family. Yes, but it's probably that issue of multitasking, yes, something like that.
yeah, go on.
Yes, probably. We didn't want to actually focus on these women associations or something like that, just because, well, it sounds a bit sexist or something like that. But I really want to ask, how do you think, do you believe in this girls' power? And do you think it's important? Do you think it's important to promote these, not say associations, but do we use actually this notion? Do we apply it to our lives? Yeah?
Sure, I believe. Yeah, because without this, without my work, without my friends, my colleagues, I wouldn't be as I am now. So I believe.
Thank you.
I actually feel completely the opposite. It's like a little bit, I would say, kindergarten. Like, as we say, guys smell and girls are stupid, right? So I think like everybody's special, and you can recognize amazing things and amazing talents in everyone. For many years, I mentioned, just amazing life with corporate America. But the task that I was given was to go to different, as we called, suicidal companies, suicidal departments and offices of our company, people who were going through some depression, and there were some fights, conflicts, quality was going down. And my role was to boost some motivation. And there were some offices where there were only girls, to which, of course, I would hire some guys to boost some morale. And we were very, very successful with that technique. So I really feel that together we can get something greater. And it's not about your gender or your age. Everyone is special, and as a manager, you have to recognize what they are good at, and of course, help them grow. I mean, that's every manager here in this room knows that.
But may I ask, Sabina?
Yes.
May I ask a question? You mentioned that something that I was thinking a lot about. Actually, working in this mixed environment and working with the women, with girls, for men. For guys, what actually strategies they should actually apply to it? You know what I mean? To let girls, to let women feel equal. Feel I don't know, feel on the same level, to be on the same level, or just be yourself and don't do nothing, and it will work.
I think this is a very cultural question. I am Polish. So in Poland, as all the women, were always used to adoration. So that's why this is every man going to a bank or a post office and seeing a woman there at the guichet always says, oh my God, you look so beautiful today. Here is my petition, or here is whatever the paper I would like you to sign. And this works perfectly in Poland. So when I started to work in Poland as an attorney, and everybody was, was asking me to sit on their lap, my clients, I was, feeling really not appreciated when I moved to New York and I was working in a law firm, and nobody told me I was pretty. But of course, things are changing, but I think there are different cultural differences. But in any way, of course, working together, working as a team, that always works. But, if you buy us some chocolates and flowers, that's, it's very much appreciated. No, I'm joking, but I would not, I think nowadays, we have to be very, very professional and, neutral.
Yeah, indeed.
I want to agree with Sabina. When we're talking about business, we have no gender. Because women as a man could do all the things that all can do, besides of children birth, but it's not a blocker to be successful in what you're doing. So something like that.
Thank you, Ilona. Manal, so what do you think?
Me myself, I don't believe that there is any difference. I've always, since I was a kid, I never felt that there is a difference between a man and a woman or any gender difference. But when I started the business and grew up, I found out that in our society, and again, I'm talking about Middle East. So in the Middle East, women, they feel they have an issue. It's normally they are the same education, they are doing well, they can work very well, but it's a matter of the traditions and the old style when they used to feel inferior or they are only housewives. This is how girls used to work before marriage. And as soon as they get married and they have kids, they stay at home and they leave the job. And still it is the case in my company or in other companies. That's why I keep pushing them, or not pushing, encouraging them to utilize their capabilities and not to be scared. And they can, with some time management and enthusiasm, they can with passion, they can do the job and they can take care of the family. So I'm a believer of women and men, no difference. They are equal in every aspect and they can do the same things. I consider different. Women are more multitasking. They can take care of the family. They can do their job towards their parents. They can work and succeed. So what I do with my team, and I have more than 50% girls and women in my company, I encourage them. I teach them how to do time management, work from home for some time after the baby, help, assist in everywhere. I even sometimes give them a recipe of cooking, how to make things easy and to let the family go. Some of them can, some cannot. But basically, we're equal. There is no difference at all, in my opinion. But it's all about the community and the society that makes the woman or girl feel. So this is what we have to coach them and help them to balance their life and do better life work balance.
Thank you, Manal. This is really interesting.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also personally do share your opinion that we're equal and we should speak in terms of professionalism and not in terms of gender. But I remember a fantastic TED talk by Steve Shirley. I guess you all watched it. If not, I want to quote a sentence from her talk. Actually, she's a great woman, and she is founder and owner of a multi-billion company, now retired. But she said that you can always tell ambitious women by the shape of their heads. They're flat on the top for being petted patronizingly. So, is your head tops are flat or not?
Somebody wants to.
Absolutely not. And actually, this is one tip that I have for everyone. It's like men, women, and all other genders out there. What I would always recommend is like take the most difficult project, because usually nobody wants to do it. And take the most difficult project, shine in it, you will get great visibility. And I can give you lots of examples of that. And of course, being in the localization industry, where there's so many companies constantly growing, they're getting either an ISO certification or maybe opening new markets, opening new offices, adding new services. There's always so many new projects that you can take. And this is what I was always doing, and that's why I was growing very quickly in my career. And I love this saying, responsibility can be only taken, not given. So just take the responsibility and do it. And the latest maybe example that I have is GDPR. Of course, being an ex-attorney, I mentioned that a million times. I think everybody took notice already. But it was, of course, interesting for me to do that. Nobody in the company wanted to do GDPR. Absolutely no one. So basically, I took it and I actually read the regulation. Then I went to a few courses. I created some kind of a strategy for the company. I did a few campaigns which were, of course, successful, because everybody had to translate something for GDPR. So, of course, immediate success. And then I was submitting my paper. I wanted to speak about GDPR at different conferences, and I was always the only one submitting that paper. So suddenly I became an expert in GDPR, and even up to today, I advise on GDPR. Why? Because no one else wanted to do that. So I totally recommend take the most difficult project nobody wants, and nobody is going to patronize you, because they are not going to know either if you are right or wrong. So my recommendation.
Well, as I mentioned before, my mentor left me after my probation period. So the main point is that you shouldn't stop discover something new. You shouldn't stop integrating something new in your profession, in your direction, to try something. Don't look back and don't look on your competitors. It's the main thing, because if you will copy them, you won't succeed. You should create something new. And when you're failing in your deeds, you should take on your knees and go on. So, as my boss always told me, "Oh, I don't like working with you girls. You have too many emotions." Yeah, and it was quite hard talking with him, because he had more emotions than I. Well, that's why I can tell that I have no patronizing in my company.
That's really great. I just want to remind we have a couple of minutes left, so
it
just
pretty much,
in few words.
Pretty much sounds like the final words, like recommendations. So we can do it this way. Answer this question with a hint of recommendations, or just final something.
What was the question, actually?
Being patronized. So have you felt it? Oh, good
Patronized,
girl.
good girl. Me?
Yeah.
I wasn't patronized, actually. I have never been patronized.
But what advice maybe you could give to young women that want to pursue their career in localization or translation business? Maybe an advice.
From my point of view, the main thing is the professionalism and knowledge of languages. And I am sure that the main point is to be yourself. And I'm sure that age doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. And, well, if you're a young girl, you should do what you like. And that's, I think that's the secret of the future career. And of course, the good, healthy self-esteem, it's very important. You can, anyone can or be born with this, born, not burn, but born. And if not, if you are not grown up with your healthy self-esteem, that you can obtain it by working with psychologists, and I highly recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. And Manal, your words of empowerment.
Any advice I can give is passion. Go to the job or to the career where you have passion. If that's what I always tell newcomers to my company. If you don't have the passion for localization, you don't like the job, please quit. Because it's a very demanding job. It takes time. It needs, you have to do it happily. So please follow your passion.
Thank you very much. Just such a perfect ending of our talk.
Yes. Yeah, we should not add anything because it's perfect. So, thank you. Maybe we have questions from guests.
Do we have some questions? If we can have, no, we don't have time because we have now the closing ceremony as previous year.
Okay, I'm not there, so.
It's just you're jealous.
Yeah, I'm jealous, but thank you very much for our participants. It was amazing. It was very interesting. I hope you helped a lot of women to make decisions as to their future careers.
Yes, thank you very much for that great talk, and I'm sure that we'll continue it at some point. Thank you.